Another segment left here with the coach, Steve Fairchild. Then we'll give him a break. Welcome back, everybody. Beach House Grill, Fort Collins. Tom Miller's in the house, former Ram football player, defensive lineman, and former assistant coach, now director of football ops. And Eric Peitz, the senior tight end, will join us here in just a little bit. We talked a little bit about that Falcon offense, but that Falcon defense, they were good last year. But they have picked up right where they left off from a season ago. They only give up about 300 yards per game.
Yeah, their numbers are very good. Very, very experienced in the secondary. Some good play at linebacker, some very talented guys in that area. So, they've done a nice job the last 2 years as we've gone against them. They're very much a defense that slants and angles and zone pressures. First time I looked at it, I almost thought I was looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers in terms of the scheme. But they do a good job. They know what they have, and you're never going to see a defensive lineman still. They're usually moving one way or the other and trying to create havoc for your offensive line.
Is it a matter of trying to confuse that offense, and do you have to work with Pete Thomas a little bit more this week on some of that stuff?
Well, in your run game, you get guys that give you one look and all of a sudden they're looping out, and it's just different. You've got to do some different things with your offensive line, and from a protection standpoint, they're not afraid to bring secondary players, which, is not uncommon, but they do it on a regular basis. You'll get an outside linebacker and a DB coming, and they do a good job of rolling their safeties around to confuse a young quarterback to not know where it's coming from.
Well, that secondary, really the strength of their defense when you look at it as a whole. And I guess when you think Air Force, you don't think maybe top-tier athletes, you don't think speed, but yet their secondary is good.
Yeah, and that's what's caught me off guard. Sometimes you say they're overachievers and that, but since Troy's been back, and when I've seen that football team, they've got good athletes. Those guys can play for any other school. They're not overachieving. They're recruiting is what they're doing, and we aim to do the same. And they do. They've got some good-looking kids playing.
It's been an Air Force team that has played well in the second half, and it almost seems as if they wear down opponents. I know they outplayed Oklahoma late in that second half, certainly the fourth quarter. They shut out BYU 21-0 in the fourth quarter, and they won the second half against Navy last week.
Yeah, and I think it gets back to this is a team game, too. I think they get some help because when you look at the number of snaps they're playing at times, it's not real high because their offense is doing a good job of making first downs and grinding the clock. So, it's by design what they're doing, and they both feed off each other, the offense and defense.
You guys are going to be back on the road, and I believe they have 2 straight sellouts, so you imagine they're going to have a big crowd coming up on Saturday.
Yeah, it's always a fun place to play, and even as a player and then as an assistant with Sonny, it's been you like playing against the Air Force Academy. They play hard, and you're always going to get their best and good environment, so we're looking forward to it.
All right, Steve, we'll give you a little bit of a break here to go and mingle and have some fun, and we'll talk with Tom Millers coming up next. More to come here. A few more segments left from Old Town Fort Collins. From Nelligan Sports, the Coors Light Steve Fairchild Coaches Show on the Colorado State Sports Network. Coors Light Steve Fairchild Coaches Show continues here tonight from Old Town Fort Collins, live at the Beach House Grill. Brian Roth with you. We mentioned the coach, Steve Fairchild. Give him a chance to go get something to eat out there. And happy to be joined by Tom Millers, former Ram player. I guess once a Ram, always a Ram. Tom, former assistant coach and now director of football operations. Tom, how are you?
Doing well, thanks.
You're here at every show, I think.
Been coming to the show for a long time. I can't hardly quit.
Steve, make you come, or you just come on your own?
No, it's kind of fun. I always come.
Absolutely. The old days with Coach Lubick, and now here with Coach Fairchild. But you have not been in coaching for what is it? 3 years now? 2 years? How long have you been director of football ops? 2 years? 3 years?
I think this is my 6th year.
6th year?
6.
Okay, there you go.
How about that?
It's been 22 years now. Yeah. How's the adjustment from being a coach all your life to not being a coach? And in 6 years now, you've obviously adjusted well. Was it hard at first?
Well, you go from being one of the pampered guys to the guy doing all the pampering. That's tough for a guy to take.
That's funny. And then, of course, you handle all the travel and whatnot. And I don't think people really understand the behind-the-scenes work that happens, and you're the guy spearheading that.
Yeah, it's one of those things. If they notice, it's a bad deal.
That's right. That
so
means
hopefully they don't know what I do.
That's kind of like being a long snapper, isn't it? You don't notice them until something goes wrong. Well, this is it's kind of been a bittersweet week and a half for you. And I hadn't had a chance to talk to you about Anthony Cesario, a fallen Ram. Of course, it was a week and a half ago where he passed away. Some of your thoughts on Anthony?
Yeah, Anthony was a great competitor and a great Ram. He loved Colorado State. He was very appreciative of all the things that happened to him here and how he grew up here. Really a great story.
Yeah, I know that kind of took some of that luster, I know, for a lot of us off that Idaho win when all of a sudden real life gets in the way of football.
Yeah, you come off that deal, and it's bad enough that, Lori McGregor and her family were there, and that was, again, it was really neat, and they're very appreciative of what we did. And then you win the game and you're excited, and then of course Steve DeLine called me that night when he found out, and it was mind-boggling.
Tom Ellers, Director of Football Ops, joining us. I want to touch on a couple of weekends coming up here. Homecoming, it's always a great weekend coming up next Saturday the 16th with that UNLV game.
You bet. Homecoming's always special. You're supposed to come back and support your school, and there's lots of activities in the community, in the city, on campus. And there were so many activities that guys we were having issues keeping them all in the football part of it. So that's why we came up with Ram Legends Weekend, which is the 30th, which is the other weekend you're talking about. And that's where we really tried to get football guys out here. And this year we're honoring the 1990 Freedom Bowl team. And I know Earl Bruce is coming out. I think Tuffy Mollison's going to be there. Sarkar Slanian's going to come. And so we're trying to get as many guys back. Unfortunately, Leon Fuller has a big game. They got the big crosstown rival, and you just can't make it.
Yeah, well, that's too bad. It'd be great to see Leon here. But that Rams Legend Weekend is something you guys started last year, and I know it's something you guys want to continue.
Yeah, it's really kind of neat for the football guys to really be the center of attention, and that's really what Ram Legends Weekend is. We're going to pick out a group, and we got a lot of people to honor over the years, and so it'll be fun.
Well, Tom, you're certainly a true Ram, and I know this football program doesn't quite function without a Tom Miller's around it, so you're doing a great job.
Well, thank you. I don't know what to say about that.
None of our flights have been late yet either this year.
No, I haven't, and all the buses have been there.
That's right. Just ask me when something goes wrong, and I might not be so complimentary. No, Tom, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Tom Millers, Director of Football Operations here at CSU. Timeout. Eric Pite, Senior Tight End, joins us next from Milligan Sports, Colorado State Sports Network. All right, 2 segments left here tonight. Coors Light, Steve Fairchild, Coach's Show here on the Colorado State Sports Network. Live at the Beach House Grill here in Old Town Fort Collins. Well, like what we're doing here this year, not only are we bringing on an assistant coach, or in this case here today, Tom Mellors, former assistant coach, but we're bringing on players as well. Happy to be joined by Eric Pites, get some of these players a chance to kind of soak in the atmosphere and give Ram fans out there a chance to kind of interact. Eric, thanks so much for joining us. How are you?
I'm very good. How are you doing?
Good, man. You're a senior.
Yeah,
Time flies, doesn't it?
I can't believe it.
Yeah. Give me an idea. You come in here as a freshman 5 years ago. And how much have you changed and grown as a football player and a person?
I think I've just gotten a little maybe smarter as a player. 4 years in this system, you really develop, and you learn so much from the upperclassmen, and just as a football player, I've learned so much.
Yeah, well, you've gotten a lot bigger. I can assure you of that too. They've gotten you in the weight room, and you're one of the biggest Rams on the team now. Give me an idea of the season. How has it gone from a player's perspective? Off to a tough start. You get the big win 2 weeks ago, and then obviously TCU, pretty good team last week.
Yeah, it was really good to get that first win, but we had a tough test this last week, and with a young offense, young quarterback, it's tough to face a top 5 team like that when we're young and experienced. So, but there's no give up in this team.
Yeah.
We're going to keep fighting, and we see a lot of wins out there still, and even a bowl game in sight.
How does this offense kind of get traction again and get going?
I say just got to get the run game going first off, because we like to do a lot of play action.
Yeah.
So if you don't get the run game going, you can't get that going. So the run game is definitely our biggest goal right now.
Eric Pites, Rams senior tight end, joining us. All right, what are you majoring in? I know you're a good student.
I'm majoring in biology.
Biology? Yikes.
Yeah.
What do you want to do after you graduate?
I think I'm just going to be, I'm going to go back to Nebraska and be a teacher and a coach.
Okay. Now, Coach Fairchild tells me you have an opportunity to play in the NFL. You're going to give that a shot first?
Definitely. I'm going to see where that'll take me. I'm going to work out and do pro day and see where it leads.
Yeah. Final thought, Falcons coming up on Saturday. What do you know about them? I know you'd like to beat them. You have not beat the Falcons in your career.
Nope. They're a tough team. They play hard. Their guys might be a little undersized, but they play tough. We have to match that toughness and intensity and just play physical. And like I said, get that run game going so we can get those big plays downfield.
All right, Eric, thanks so much. Congratulations on a good year, and best of luck the rest of the year.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Eric Pites, the Nebraska native, joining us here, the senior tight end. One more segment left. We'll be rejoined by Steve Fairchild. That's next from Elegant Sports, the Colorado State Sports Network. Well, the final time we rejoin you here tonight from the Beach House Grill here in Fort Collins. Brian Roth, along with Coach Steve Fairchild. Did I miss it? Did I miss something here?
No. I was giggling at something out there in the audience.
Well, Steve, before we kind of wrap this up and get some of your final thoughts on the game upcoming this weekend against Air Force, again, that's a 12 noon kickoff. We'll speak a little bit about the last two guests we have, starting with Eric Pites, and here's a kid, a senior, and has been through the program, and I know he's grown a whole heck of a lot.
He has. He's what you want on your football team. You know, he's a 3-year starter. You know, actually, he didn't play a ton Sonny's last year, but he did play. It was too bad because, you know, had he redshirted, he could, we could have him as a junior and then back next year. And but just a great kid, hardworking kid, puts the team first, a very good student. Everything you're looking for in a football player, Eric Pites has, and just been a pleasure to have him on the team and to coach him.
Yeah, in fact, what was it, the Miami game, I believe he did not have a reception, and that snapped an 11-game streak in which he had caught a football. He's a big threat for you guys.
No, he is. And he can do both. They're hard to find. You know, some teams have athletic tight ends and some teams have blockers. We ask our guy to, the things we ask Eric Pites to do, to line up and put his hand on the ground and block a defensive end, and then the next play turn around and release downfield and beat a strong safety and man coverage. So we ask a lot of them, and those guys are hard to find, and Eric certainly has done a great job and is doing a great job for us.
And then, of course, Tom Miller is a guy that you've known for a long time.
Tom and I were teammates way back, 1980 or whatever. I can't even think back that far, but he does more than anybody would ever realize. Everything just in running our operations, from team travel to meals to recruiting to academics to, he's always coming into my office and bringing up something that I'm not thinking of and saying, what do you want to do here? This is our options. And the guy works tremendously hard, and he's like a lot of guys on our staff. He graduated from Colorado State, and I know he's got a passion for not only the community of Fort Collins, but the university that's cannot be matched, and really an invaluable guy on our staff.
Yeah, he's one of those real true Rams out there.
Knows everybody at the university, been here however many years, knows everybody in town, and everybody likes and respects Tom Ehlers and knows that he really has the Rams first and foremost in his heart.
Well, a couple final thoughts here on the Air Force Falcons coming up, and we talked about your offense struggling. I imagine a good early first period is probably going to do wonders for your football team.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get off on a fast start, to put a drive together and go down and get some points. But I'm more interested in, what our defense did last game was impose their way of playing, their will on the TCU team, and that's what we got to do offensively. We got to just go out there and play our game, and whether it's low scoring, high scoring, just as long as we're trying to get things done that we plan on doing, we'll have a good game.
Yeah, and I know you like to get that defense off the field because Air Force likes to play keep away.
Yeah, that's going to be key, is getting them out of there.
All right, as always, Steve, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Oh, it's been great.
That's the head coach, Steve Fairchild. After all, it's his show. Thanks to Tom Millers, Eric Pite, senior tight end. Charlie Grimes was back at Master Control here tonight. Warren Tracy, our engineer, back here. And for the rest of the great crowd that has showed up here tonight at the Beach House Grill in Fort Collins. Again, we'll be on air coming up Saturday morning at 11 a.m. with the tailgate show kickoff between the Rams and the Falcons. It comes up at 12:05. We'll talk to you coming up then. I'm Brian Rupp. Thanks to everybody from the Beach House Grill. It's the Coors Light Steve Fairchild Coaches Show.